North Central opened up conference play with a lopsided victory over Millikin. The Big Blue fell to the Cardinals Saturday night by a final score of 47-13. The Cards CCIW schedule shifts to the big city this week as the 12th-ranked Cardinals will travel to Chicago to square off with North Park. Step inside the red zone right now. Welcome inside the red zone. I'm Zach GROTH. Joining us to start the program, fresh off his 113th win at NCC, Cardinal football head coach John Thorne. Welcome back, Coach.
Thanks, Zach.
Getting the win to start the CCIW schedule against Millikin, the team did so well on every phase of the ball. What worked for the Cardinals in picking up that valuable first CCIW victory?
Well, I think the guys on special teams had some nice plays, and as we got going through the game, it was a lot tougher game than what we were hoping. And so it was a nice momentum swing when we had the fake punt, and it worked, you know. And then later the onside kick that we recovered, but we didn't get points out of that one. So that was a bit of a negative. But offensively, we needed things to go more fluidly. Our tempo needed to get faster, and we needed to get better protection of the quarterback so that we could deliver some balls. Tyler had a nice day with 4 touchdown passes, but he still wasn't protected all the time. And then Dylan came in later in the game, went 4 for 4, and had a couple of great runs. So both quarterbacks had a lot of fun, I think, and were able to do some fun things. And the defensive side, getting Justin Stuursma back. The football loves Justin. It finds him. Yeah, I mean, he got a fumble recovery, he got a pick six, and just overall, there were a lot of good things that happened with the defense against the pass, especially. And we did shut their run down quite a bit to where they just became one-dimensional, and so we ended up with some nice turnovers. P.J. Crotty had a great interception. Jordan Dean had another nice interception. So all in all, it was a pretty fun day, but we still have lots of little things we got to get better at, much better at.
Well, Coach, let's take a closer look at how the Cardinals earned the victory in their first CCIW game of the season. Here are the highlights. Cardinals opening up CCIW play against Millikin. First game for NCC following the announcement that head coach John Thorne will step down after this season. Cardinal QB Tyler Dicken getting his first start since 2011. Dicken rolls left, his throw deflected twice, but still finds its way to Sorensen. Cards strike first, 7-0. 7-3 now in the second, Cards threatening. Dicken looks to Demarco Tillman, the 6'3 junior hauls it in to put NCC up 11. Big Blue driving later in the frame, Nick Pippin connects with Sean Maloney, but the ball knocked loose by Nick Samuelson. Jordan Dean able to pick it up, fumble recovery kills the Millikin drive. Moments later, Dicken passing again, rollout looking for Ryan Kuhl, and somehow the freshman able to catch this in bounds. Outstanding sliding grab. NCC goes into half up 23-6. Quarterback Dylan Warden getting some reps in the second half. He fakes an option play here with Ryan Kent, drops back and guns it downfield. Sorensen makes the grab behind Joannis Edwards, bounces the play outside. He's able to stretch the ball inside the pylon for his 27th career receiving touchdown. Later in the third, Dicken feeds Sorensen again. 35-yard pickup this time, brought down 2 yards shy of the goal line. Second and goal play fakes the give to Kent, and Dicken finds tight end Colton Kaczynski for another score. Next offensive play for Millikin, Pippin's going to want this throw back. Justin Stuursma jumps the route, and there's nothing but green turf in front of him. Pick 6 for the Army veteran to make it 44-6. The Cardinals cruise on from there. NCC dominates in the CCIW opener. The Big Blue seeing red on their way back to Decatur. First start for Tyler Dicken since 2011 in the playoffs. looked pretty good. He got those 4 touchdowns. There were the 1 interception, but he did a really good job spreading out the ball.
Yeah, he did, you know. His vision was better this week. He made some really good choices on where he tried to throw the ball, and most of the time we caught it. We still had a couple of drops, you know. Demarco Tillman had a great catch on a slant pass for a touchdown, so it was really fun to see because that window was really, really tight, and he squeezed it in there very well.
The run game for Millikin actually did a pretty good job. They almost averaged about the same level as you did. I think 4.5 a carry for them, 4.7 for you guys. Why do you think they didn't go more run heavy when the passing attack was having so many issues?
Well, I don't know, you know, because I'm not over there on their side. I'm hearing all their conversations and so forth, but I think our defensive guys were lining up in ways that where they felt like they still had some windows to throw the football. You know, before the game started, Jimmy Pelnarsh and I were walking over to the stadium together, and I told him, you know, hey, you know, it is legal for you guys to sack the quarterback, and if you want to knock the ball out and scoop it up and score a touchdown. And he told me he was going to do that. Well, his very first opportunity, he does sack the quarterback, it falls out, but he forgot to pick it up and run for a touchdown. So we're going to work on that this week. But a lot of good things happened, and we still have things to work on, especially against the run. 4.5 per carry is too big of a number. So glad you weren't on their sideline telling them they should keep running it maybe.
Oh, I'll try not to give the opponents too many advice. My favorite number, though, from this game, and I know you were able to get a lot of guys in with that big lead in the second half, 31 different players credited with a tackle or an assist on a tackle. What was it like to be able to get the young guys so much experience in the CCIW battle?
It's really so valuable. That's why the program has a chance to continue to sustain this winning tradition that's going on right now for the last 8 years. Because we get a chance to play a lot of guys, and they get excited about doing that. I used a few new faces on special teams. They got in on a bunch of those tackles you're talking about, but the defensive coaches were able to get every defensive player on the field, and obviously several of them must have had a chance to make a tackle sooner or later, so it was a good thing.
And I know you already touched on this, but rarely do we get to talk this much about a kicker punter. Dom Zavaglia was one of the heroes of the game for you guys, being able to convert on that fake punt and the surprise onside. What do you tell him going into the week and letting him know that he's going to be this involved?
Well, we practiced all those things quite a bit this week. We had a feeling that those might present an opportunity for us to use them. And Dom's one of the best-liked kids on the whole team. He's new to our team this year, but he came in and was here for spring ball. So he's really got to know everybody. And so they all were, you know, happy for him, and he was happy for the team. So hopefully some more things like that will come down the road.
After a short timeout, we'll return with Coach Thorne to preview this week's road game at North Park. Don't go anywhere.
Ready. Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
We're back here in the Red Zone, continuing the conversation with NCC head coach John Thorne. The defense has dealt with a lot of injuries so far, but the numbers are pretty good. What does it tell you about the team's depth on the defensive side?
Well, we knew we were going to have great depth, and you always want to develop those number twos because you just never know in a game like football. But the defensive coaches have done a marvelous job having guys ready to step right in, and we haven't missed a beat very often. You know, the game at Stevens Point was a little tough. We just had too many injured all at the same time. But otherwise, they've been able to do great things.
The Cardinal defense has performed well in 2014. Through 4 games, opponents have averaged under 18 points per. Defensive coordinator Mike Murray puts in plenty of hours getting his group ready to keep opponents out of the end zone. But this season, his workload at NCC got even bigger. We take a look at Murray's new leadership position with North Central men's golf in this week's Cardinal Corner. NCC defensive coordinator Mike Murray is a very busy man this season. He still has the weekly challenge of shutting down whatever offense the Cardinals come up against, but his workload increased drastically this summer when athletic director Jim Miller named him the new head coach of the men's golf team. Murray's done this before, serving in both coaching capacities at Illinois Wesleyan from 1991 to 94.
It's a little bit different now because there is split seasons in golf, and football has spring ball now, so my first answer to him was yes, if you can explain to me how you see this working and what you envision.
To make this work, Murray has taken more of an administrative role during the fall season, focusing his efforts on recruiting and program organization, leaving the on-course leadership to assistant coach Steve Sellers.
He just does an outstanding job, so I think it's a combination that we can be successful with.
Mr. Inside, Mr. Outside, it's worked out. A couple little hiccups, but we've nothing that's caused a problem for the kids or the program.
Mr. Outside made it a priority to move the team's home course to the Naperville Country Club, calling it an environment in which the team could succeed. Now that he's accomplished that goal, Murray wants to take the program to a more competitive level, first in the conference and then nationally.
The role is always twofold. It's to take the guys that you have and give them the opportunity to become better, and then go out and recruit better guys.
The team recognizes and appreciates Murray's past experience at conference powerhouse Illinois Wesleyan and believes he can make the Cardinals a greater threat in the CCIW.
Coming from a program like Wesleyan's, which is one of the best in the nation, so that means he's bringing a mentality that we hadn't seen before.
He actually coached their coach that's there currently, so I knew that he had some valuable experience.
Murray says that certain traits from football carry over into golf, saying that the athlete's drive for success will always rank high. He does acknowledge that different approaches are necessary, and his golfers admire that flexibility.
Football is definitely a hard sport to coach, and the fact that he can do that and alongside get the time in to spend with us and help us with everything is just phenomenal.
When you're on the football field, it takes the passion, energy that players have to bring to the table to be successful and play at a high level, play with a lot of speed. On the golf course, you're trying to slow things down.
Coach, how has Mike Murray done balancing these two schedules?
Well, he is always full of energy, and he always has this amazing smile and great attitude. So he's been able to handle it extremely well. But it's like he's a college student all over again, because they have to handle so many. It's such a juggling match for every college, Division III especially, football player or any other sport. So he's getting a taste of the same thing the college guys are going through each season, and he's doing a great job.
Moving to your matchup this Saturday at North Park, this team's coming off a loss to Wheaton. They got steamrolled 48-21. You beat this team badly last year, 42-0. How tough is it to make sure that the guys don't get a little complacent for a matchup like this and look past it?
Well, North Park had a great year last year. They won 3 games. They had gone 13 straight years without a win in our conference. So everybody was so happy for them. And the week that we played them, they were still trying to recover from some injuries, so on and so forth. And so we got off to an early lead. But they can be very dangerous. The quarterback, if he gets hot and the receivers are doing some good things, they can do a lot of damage. I mean, 21 points against Wheaton. Their defense doesn't usually give up scores like that. Unfortunately, they had some early interceptions, great field position for Wheaton, and Wheaton was put a lot of points on really early. So I think part of it is we do need to get started fast to try and turn it into more of a, all-pass type game. Then we can get the right personnel out there to deal with it. But we always enjoy every weekend, so we're really looking forward to playing.
Is the start of the game, like you just said there, where North Park's most vulnerable in terms of falling down early and getting into those ruts?
Well, they've lost every game, and so, yeah, your team gets very vulnerable after a while. If you fall behind fast, it's really hard to get that energy going. You know, they'll show up really excited and ready to play, and if things work well, it'll stay a game for maybe all 4 quarters, who knows. But, you know, Millikin showed up very excited. They played extremely well the whole first half. And it wasn't until the second half that we really started getting things rolling. So it's always fun because you never know how your team's going to show up and how the other team's going to show up and how slow you're going to start or how fast you're going to start. And so it's like a chess match. That's one of the fun things about coaching.
When you played the Vikings last year, it was really run heavy. Despite Stanek being in the middle of such a great season, you attacked them on the ground, and it worked really well. Do you expect a similar situation, especially with the dual quarterback system, where you got 2 quarterbacks who can also pick up yards on the ground?
It's hard to tell. You know, once we got ahead, we don't throw the ball anywhere near as much, especially I think this against Millikin, we didn't throw a single pass the entire 4th quarter, and we only threw a very few passes late. I think we threw 1 pass in the last 5 minutes of the 3rd quarter even. So sometimes the running happens because the score is where it is, and we're choosing not to throw the ball. For some reason, people get upset if you throw the ball when you're ahead. You know, I don't know that I totally buy into that, you know, but when our number 2s or number 3s are on the field, I would like them to be able to run our entire offense, you know, but so we try not to do those things, and I think that's part of why there was so much running last year. Now, this is a whole different season. We'll have to see what'll take place on Saturday.
Well, Coach, thank you for stopping by. Good luck in Chicago this weekend.
All right, thank you, Zach. Have a great day.
When we return, a couple Cardinal players will join the set to tell us how the team will try to build off of last Saturday's big conference win. Stay right here.
Hi, my name's CJ. A few years ago, my father became seriously ill. I did what I could do before he passed, but it took its toll. I lost my job, my house. I'm getting back on my feet, but I don't know when there'll be food on the table. How'd I do, CJ?
We could be twins.
Well, cousins, maybe.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Welcome back inside the Red Zone. Joining me now, 2 starters who made big contributions in the victory against Millikin, junior wide receiver Demarco Tillman and sophomore defensive lineman Jimmy Pelnarsh. Guys, welcome to the program.
Hey, thank you.
All 3 starting wide receivers and the starting tight end got a touchdown grab in that first game. Demarco, what was it like to see the offense really spread the ball out so much in that victory over the Big Blue?
You know, it's always good to see your fellow classmates and teammates and brothers, you know, having fun and scoring, and especially your receiving core and tight end Corden. So it's always good to see everybody get a chance to enjoy the field, you know, and to score a touchdown.
How did you like Tyler's first start of the year, and what did you see out of him?
You know, to me, it's not like Tyler's, it's his first start, because he's a present in practice. He's a present, he was a present freshman year. You know, I feel like him and Dylan, it's like they're always starting, even if they're both not on the field, if that makes any sense to you.
Mm-hmm. And Jimmy, the stat I brought up with Coach earlier, and I love this number, 31 players get a tackle in that victory. It's getting such a well-rounded effort out of the defense. What does that do for you guys momentum-wise, building forward and getting some momentum on that side of the ball?
You know, that's awesome. That's an awesome stat. That means everyone's contributing. You can put anyone on the field and you can expect them to produce for you. And that's, you know, really something that we want out of all of the players.
All 3 phases came up with big plays during NCC's 34-point victory Saturday night. On this week's What's the Word, we get reactions from some more Cardinal players about the team's well-rounded effort.
not too often that you get to do those kinds of things. So whenever your name gets called, you definitely want to execute those. The fake punt, Schroeder did a good job of just catching that pass because, you know, it wasn't the prettiest. But we just executed it. And then as far as the onside, surprise onside, our coverage unit just did a great job of just corralling it and hopping on that ball.
Well, it gets everyone pumped. You know, no one's down. Everyone's getting pumped. When special teams are pulling out those trick plays, everyone gets going. You know, the motivation, offense wants to score then, or the defense wants to, score. Everyone, it's fun.
That's the thing. Like, our team has so much variety to it. Like, we score on special teams, interceptions. Our turnovers are huge. Momentum shifters. Like, we get an interception, score a touchdown. And Dom's kicking has been great lately. So, I mean, I think the variety on our team has been the main factor to why we're scoring so much.
Guys, this question for both of you. We'll start with Demarco and then move to Jimmy. The team looked like a different group as opposed to last week at Stevens Point. I know UW Stevens Point is a much better team than Millikin, or at least a significantly better team than Millikin. But what changed during the practice week? What did change down the field for you guys?
I think the key to our win against Millikin was our pace. Like, we emphasized, picking up the pace. We're a fast team. We like to move fast, so that was pretty much the key. And when we're moving fast, we're having fun.
And Jimmy?
I think complacency. We were a little complacent during Stevens Point. We weren't 100% there, mentally. We made a lot of mistakes where Millikin, coaches got on us during the week, fine-tune everything, and yeah, there were still mistakes, but we came out and we played our style of football.
And Demarco, to see both quarterbacks do so well, what is it like for you guys to be able to mix it up and hit teams with different looks like that, to have Tyler come in for a little bit and then switch in Dylan? Dylan had that 80-yard touchdown. That was fantastic to give them all these different looks on offense.
It makes it hard for teams to scout us, and it gives us an element that a lot of teams don't have. We can throw two quarterbacks in, and they both can compete, and they both can perform, and the team is comfortable with both of them. So it just gives a great element.
Moving to this week's matchup at North Park, NCC beat this team 42-0 last year. Jimmy, scouting these guys, why do you think that the group was so effective last season, and how do you duplicate on that success?
Last year they were really bought into the system that Coach Murray's installed, and this year we got to do the same exact thing. We got to come out there, play our style of football, not let them dictate the pace of the game, and just take over.
Last year it was 51 rushes for NCC against 17 pass attempts. Demarco, as a wide receiver, I'm sure you'd like to see those numbers shift a little bit and get some more opportunities to catch the ball. But why do you think the run works so well against this team?
Because of our line. Our linemen they're great. So that actually helps the running backs. Like when the running backs get success, and then the linemen are, they're doing their thing, it just makes everything so easy. And you know what? If we run the ball and I don't get one ball, it's a team sport. So, hey, and if our receiving core and they're just running and we're running, it's good.
Willing to make the sacrifices for that W?
Always.
Jimmy, in this game, how much of a incentive is it for you guys to build an early lead and keep them off the board and get more of those second, third string guys in like you did this week? And as a younger guy, you know how valuable that experience is.
Yeah, getting the guys' time is huge, and if we can get off to a huge start and just play our style of football, everyone's going to be able to contribute, and it's going to be an even bigger team win, and it's just going to be a great opportunity for everyone.
Demarco, Jimmy, I want to thank you both for stopping by this week. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Coming up next, North Central Sports Information Director Clark TEUSCHER will stop by to fill us in on some of the other exciting action going on with NCC's fall sports programs. More Red Zone after this.
Today is Saturday. 60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. Get ideas. Get involved. Get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
Thanks for staying with us in the Red Zone. Joining us now to talk NCC fall sports, we say hello to Sports Information Director Clark TEUSCHER. Welcome back, Clark.
Always good to be here, Zach.
Big day Saturday, obviously the win against Millikin. Great for the NCC football program. Huge day for soccer, too. Men's and women's teams playing, both getting overtime victories in CCIW play. How big of a day was it for the entire programs?
Well, for a series where the soccer programs really have experienced a lot of futility, that was only the second time that the women's program had ever beaten Carthage, and it was only the fourth time the men's team ever had. So certainly good to get a victory over programs that seem to have had their number in the last few years.
Matt Koth really, for the men's team, appears to be emerging as not only one of the best players on the team, but one of the top players in the conference.
Yeah, he changed positions this year. He was on defense last year. They moved him up to kind of take advantage of his height at the forward position this year. He's currently leading the conference in scoring, which has been quite a while since we've had a North Central player on top of that particular list. But he's also been getting some help. Luke Habib at the other forward position. He scored the first goal on Saturday, mainly because he's so fast that if you get back on your heels a little bit as a defender, that could be enough to get you beat, and that's exactly what happened. And he's also leading the conference in assists, so they've been able to work pretty well as a 1-2 combination up on top.
Fairly interesting week for the women's golf team. I think that first day of the CCIW tournament might have been their best performance all year. They were leading after day one, and although they finished third overall to finish it up, 2 outstanding individual performances.
Yeah, it equaled their best round of the year, which was interesting because they had about an hour-long rain delay during the course of that round. We're not able to replicate that the next 2 days, but fortunately, junior Kayla Koenig finishes second overall. Not many people go into that kind of a tournament and play better than they have all year, and that's exactly what Kayla did on 2 of those 3 days. And the third day, she matched the best round that she had for the season up to that point. So, to do that, when they had all the weather problems, they had several delays throughout the weekend, and playing on a course that was already a little longer than some of the ones they've played on this year, certainly a remarkable performance and a well-deserved result.
Women's cross country has the Eagle Invitational coming up on Friday. Benedictine's race at St. James. Nationally ranked right now program, what do you expect out of them in this upcoming race?
Well, they sent the top group to Notre Dame last weekend. Got some really good competitive experience there. Did pretty well against a field with all divisions of the NCAA represented. Probably will not send that same group to the Benedictine meet. We'll probably rest those for the Oshkosh meet following week. Give that second tier of runners another chance to compete and move up a little bit on the ladder to try and give themselves a better chance to compete at the CCIW championships.
Women's tennis has had a bit of an up and down slate so far. They have a lot of sweeps, but they've had a couple setbacks too. What do you expect out of them as they move forward in CCIW play?
Coming down to the last week here before the conference tournament, so they're really just they're pretty solidified in terms of their lineup. Just trying to iron out the last few little things there before they go into the conference tournament, seeing if they can get themselves one of those top 4 spots for the AQ tournament in the spring.
And volleyball's moving forward in CCIW play as well. I know they had a little stumble to start, but overall still a very good season and a good start for the volleyball program.
Yeah, probably expected to get the win at Wheaton after having won the first set so handily. Wound up not being able to get that done. They had the weekend off to try and iron some things out and get some people rested who had been playing hurt. Get back into conference play on Tuesday and try to right the ship a little bit.
Well, Clark, I want to thank you for stopping by. Have a good week.
All right, thanks, you too.
That wraps up this week's edition of the Red Zone. This Saturday, the Cardinals travel to the Windy City, looking to extend their conference record to 2-0. NCC plays at North Park starting at 1 p.m., and you can stay up to date with that game on NorthCentralCardinals.com. Also, look out for our post-game highlight video this weekend on YouTube.com/NorthCentralSports. Thanks for joining us here in the Red Zone. I'm Zach Groth. We'll see you again next week.